Let's forget the fact that no psychic has ever passed credible, scientific testing and believe that psychics truly do exist. If they do exist, I do not believe that the psychic twins qualify. First of all, the psychic twins have predicted the last two presidential elections in the United States incorrectly. They predicted that Obama would lose to Romney in 2012. Not only did Obama win the Electoral College, but he also won the popular vote. In 2016, they incorrectly predicted that Clinton would beat Trump. Clinton did win the popular vote, but that does not matter. You need to win the Electoral College in order to win the presidency in the United States. If they were real psychics, they would have known that Trump would win the Electoral College. How could a psychic not foresee years of Trump being president? Sorry, but there will be no recounts in Michigan and Pennsylvania. In Wisconsin, the results of the recount gave Trump even more votes. You can bring up all of these excuses about Russia meddling in our election, but the fact is that the Electoral College confirmed Trump's presidency. The psychic twins should have seen the Russian influence. Even if something happens to Trump before he takes office, Mike Pence will take his place, not Clinton. Shane Dawson, naively, tried to cover up for the psychic twins by saying that no one but God could have known that Trump would win. That makes no damn sense. Psychics are not supposed to be like everyone else. They aren't supposed to be guessing. It is obvious that the psychic twins got the last two presidential elections wrong because they were going by the polls. In 2012, it was believed that Obama could lose based on the polls. In 2016, all of the major polls said that Trump would lose because they were oversampling women and Democrats. However, there is one poll that correctly predicted this election. It also predicted the 2012 election correctly. How come these pollsters are more accurate than these supposed psychics? This is how psychics go about making their predictions. Normally, they will make a lot of predictions for the upcoming years. This increases the chance that they will get something right. When they do get something right, they will bring a lot of attention to it, pushing their wrong predictions to the background. Psychics also tend to make their predictions vague. This is the reason why the psychic twins would not mention names when making their predictions for Fifth Harmony. Don't believe that excuse that they were trying to protect them. It is obvious that the psychic twins did not know much about Fifth Harmony, so they searched for information on them. There were already rumors that Camila was leaving the group. In 2015, there were articles on the rumors that she wanted to go solo. Fans saw that she was unhappy and already predicted that she would leave. In the beginning of 2015, before the dramas started, I wrote a story on Camila going solo because it was obvious that she would. Anyway, the psychic twins said that a member who is the lead singer would leave within the next 11 or 12 months. Well, there is a harmonizer who works in the industry who said that Camila would leave this year after they were done touring. Obviously, this industry insider had more precise information, and she didn't need to be psychic to get it. Even Shane Dawson predicted that Camila would leave, and he's not psychic either. Another thing a person will find when doing research on Fifth Harmony is all the junk Cameron shippers put on the internet. The psychic twins made the prediction that two members within Fifth Harmony who have similar hair will date short term. They also said it's not well known. Most harmonizers would recognize Camila and Lauren as having the most similar hair. They also said the members are petite with dark hair. I wouldn't call Lauren petite, but she's the closest to what they're describing. Now, let's break this down. Already, the "it's not that well known" part would make this prediction wrong. Almost every harmonizer knows about the Cameron theories. The next part that would most likely be wrong is that they would date short term. There have been theories of Cameron dating since 2012. That's not short term. It's also less likely that they would have something going on now than in the past. Harmonizers with the memory of Dory the fish keep saying that the psychic twins predicted that a member of Fifth Harmony would come out as bisexual by the end of the year. No, they did not. All you have to do is watch the video to see this. Even though a lot of harmonizers already suspected something that you don't need to be a psychic to see, the psychic twins completely failed to predict that Lauren would come out as bisexual. That is the big story everyone would have wanted to hear. That should have been one of the easiest things to see. They also failed to predict that a picture of Lauren kissing Lucy would be found. That takes me to my next point, that Lucy is not a member of Fifth Harmony. The psychic twins couldn't even predict that Lauren would date her longtime friend when many harmonizers already suspected this. Let's watch the video clip.
We saw Fifth Harmony.
Ooh, I have a prediction. I don't know literally anything about them, but I watched one of their music videos and then I watched one of their interviews for some reason.
Okay.
And I have a prediction. The girl, I don't know her name, but she looks like Selena Gomez.
Okay.
And she's small.
Okay.
I think she's like
one
the
of the
most
lead
popular
singers.
one. I think she's gonna leave.
Yeah.
Okay,
And I think all the other ones are gonna be like, oh fuck, and then they're all gonna try to keep going, and it's not gonna work.
that's amazing.
Yes.
'Cause our prediction is that one of them is going to take off and do a solo.
That there's a solo career for one of them, and
That
she'll
was
do quite
exactly
well.
our prediction, Shady.
That was, yeah, you are getting hot with that prediction stuff.
It's the shirt. Go get it now. Wait, so when is that gonna happen?
Okay, I feel
You know,
like
when
it'll
it'll happen soon. It'll probably happen the next year.
It could be in the next 11, 12 months. We also saw two of them are, I think, involved romantically with each other.
Yeah.
What?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, Fifth Harmony. But it isn't like that well known.
Yeah, it's not well known. We're not going to name names.
Yeah.
Find friendship and romance.
And now
In the
it won't
group.
be forever. I think it'll be more short term.
Okay, wait. Once again, I don't know who they are. I know who they are because I
Yeah.
watched X Factor, but I don't
Yeah.
know their names.
They're the ones that kind of look like us with the same kind of hair.
A little,
The lesbians?
but they're
Yeah.
petite. They're very petite, dark hair.
Wait, so it's not the lead one?
I think it is one of the leads.
I think it's-
What?
Oh, yeah, I shouldn't have said
The one
that.
who's gonna leave?
Are we gonna get
Uh-oh.
like on
No.
in the National Enquirer for this?
Wait, the one who's gonna leave?
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, what about?
My main point is that the psycho frauds, I mean, psychic twins are quote-unquote predicting things that are obvious. After their Fifth Harmony predictions, they went on to talk about One Direction and how two members in that group dated in the past. They obviously did a search on social media or Google and found out about the delusional Larry shippers. Even if it turns out that Cameron and Larry dated, that wouldn't prove anything about the psychic twins' psychic abilities because anyone could have found that information on the internet. However, I will say that the psychic twins have hurt real people with their incorrect readings and have almost destroyed marriages and families. As a bonus, I'm going to show you a clip of an illusionist describing how psychics do their readings. Since this whole video is kind of long, I'm cutting off the end where they talk about how there are psychic schools that teach people these techniques without them knowing that you don't have to be psychic to do them. In other words, there are psychics who are knowingly scamming people, and there are psychics who believe they are psychic because they've been taught some cool tricks that anyone can do, but their success makes them believe they're psychic.
Darren, could you begin by telling me what cold reading is and how it's used?
Cold reading, I suppose, is the way that a complete stranger can seemingly tell you everything about yourself without being psychic and without knowing anything about you. In essence, the cold reader or psychic is supplying a lot of words, and you as the sitter, the other person, is supplying the meaning to those words. And it relies on a lot of techniques. It's not really a question of forensic body reading and the sort of things that people might... It's not really normally even that clever. There are linguistic tricks which, unless you're aware of them, are very easy to fall for. And those tricks can give the impression that the person knows everything about your character, or might refer to facts and things from your life or from your past that they seemingly couldn't know about.
So if a psychic, a so-called psychic, a trickster, was trying to pretend to guess, I don't know, the name of the sitter's grandfather or something like that, what would be the kind of thing they might do?
Well, very often, I mean, even guessing the name of a grandfather, if you back up, what tends to happen is that the psychic will, if it's with a group of people, throw out a name and say, I'm getting the name John or Albert or some name that's sort of suitable for the age group they're working with. And now that name could refer to a person in the audience who's living, or it could refer to someone that's died, or it could be a friend of the person. You know, it really could be anything. So it's up to somebody to pick up on it and turn it into what they want it to be. And of course, if they say, yes, that was my husband, then the reader can go, yes, that's right, he's here, he's saying he still loves you, or whatever that is, and they turn it back into, make it sound as if they were saying it was your husband, when in fact it could have been anybody, it could have been the name of the person that was sat there. The kind of methods that involved the Barnum statement's very sort of famous and well known about, and there's a great experiment.
Remind us what the Barnum...
Yeah, well, there's a terrific experiment that was done on this with students. I've filmed this myself. We did it with 3 different groups of people across the world, where you have everybody in the group is given a reading, a personality reading, and normally beforehand there's some nonsense about asking for their birth date or getting some objects off them. That, so there's some sort of process apparently involved, and they're given a reading, and it's a long reading. It's a very detailed personality reading, and they all get one individually. They're all asked to read it. And invariably, they will all say afterwards that it's very, very accurate, that it was not at all vague or ambiguous of what people might expect. And they'll give it 85, 90, 95% accuracy. And I've seen this happen, and people are amazed by it. And then you get them to swap with each other. And so perhaps you can identify someone else by their reading, and they realise they've all been given exactly the same thing. Which was written months ago before I even met them, And the statements that fill those sorts of readings are generally Barnum statements. And Barnum statements are things which essentially apply to anybody. This is only part of the cold reading skill, but it's a major part of it.
It comes from P.T. Barnum, the circus proprietor, who said, "We have something for everybody."
Something for everyone, that's right.
Okay.
And famously, a sucker was born every minute. So these are statements along the lines of... you're somebody who you tend to keep people a little bit at bay, but when
you're a caring person,
you're a caring. You keep people a little bit at bay. There, you tend to keep people at arm's length. But when you allow people into that inner sanctum of when they become your close friends. If they betray you, then that really hurts, And you're not saying anything other than you're closer to people that you're close to. It means nothing, absolutely nothing.
Yes. And horoscopes are the same. I mean, they use the same principle.
Because those things have to apply to anybody, because there's no interaction going on. A horoscope or something given, when everyone's getting the same thing. There's no feedback, so you're simply relying on things that apply to anybody. What you can do when you're interacting with somebody is you can fork off from one way or another. Be careful I say that. You can go one way or the other depending on the response you get. So if I said to you that the spirits are telling me you've got quite a temper, you could answer yes or no to that. You might agree or disagree. Now, if you agree with it, it feels like a hit, and I can say yes, that's right. I can sense that you've got a real temper. ... If you say no, I can say. Well, not on the outside. I mean, what you've done is you've learned how to sort of keep that very contained. But inside, you'll be aware that there are some things that really kind of knot you up and make you very angry. But what's great about you is that you've learned to control that on the outside. It still feels like a hit. Linguistically, what they tend to do is they say, they put the word not into the question. So they'll say things like, one recent reading I was listening to was, she said, now you haven't been drinking a lot of water recently, have you? And by phrasing it in the negative, it allows a yes or no to be a hit. And the answer was no. And she said, well, you should do. The spirit's telling me you need to be drinking more than you are. You haven't been drinking much. And it sounded like a hit. Equally, if the person said yes, it would have seemed like, yes, they're telling me, either way. Then a common ruse also is to make statements that allow you to have both sides of the coin in one go. So, for example, if I said to you, you've got an extrovert side and an introvert side, that's not remotely convincing at all. That seems to be a given. But if you say to somebody, when you're at a party, you're very good at being able to hold court. You can entertain people. You're very good at being really the life and soul of a party. But what's interesting about you is that when you walk away from that, you'll often find yourself at home running back through conversations in your head and wondering, oh, what did that person mean? Why did I say that? That was stupid. And when you're even at those parties, even though you like to think that you're somebody who can be in charge and very charismatic, you'll often find yourself just stood there thinking, God, why am I here? It's like everyone is a million miles away, and you're aware that that is a facade that you put on. Now, whether or not that applies to you, the fact is, all I'm doing is saying that you've got an introvert and an extrovert side, which cancels itself out. It means nothing. And yet most people will find a way of sort of making that easily fit themselves.